Hi again. All right, this one's going to be real quick. I just want to update our plans for doing natural deduction problems. Here's what we had before from TFL. Plan A, if you can, work backwards with an introduction rule. The exceptions to that are, well, if your goal is atomic, then there's nothing to introduce, so you're not working backwards with an introduction rule. If your goal's main connective is or is the devil, we don't trust it, work backwards with extreme caution. Make sure that you're actually going to be able to get whatever goal it is you're going for. And if your goal is a contradiction, unless you see the contradiction you want to go for, maybe go to Plan B. Okay, here's an update. I said in the last video when I was trying to explain the new intro and elim rules that the existential quantifier is a lot like an or. That applies here. So if your goal is an existential sentence, be just as cautious with it as if it were an or. So remember, existential intro says you're trying to get some existentially quantified sentence. If you decide to do that by existential intro, you're going to give yourself a goal where you put some name in to that gap, right? F of A. The trouble is you might not know for any particular object, like you might be able to validly conclude that somebody's an F, but that doesn't mean you know who it is. And that means anything you put here as a new goal is going to be something you can't get. So just be careful. This is a rule you're going to use. Just make sure that you try to use it at a point in setting up your derivation where it's actually going to succeed. So if or is the devil, the existential quantifier is the devil in disguise. Be equally cautious. Okay. Plan B, work forward with an elimination rule. And remember I said the way I prioritize these things, if you're choosing which line to do an elimination rule on, do or elimination first. If you see an or sentence, do or elimination on it. Again, existential quantifier is or in disguise. Don't avoid the existential rule because you heard that whole thing about subproofs and a name standing in for everybody, and be careful about which name you choose. Don't avoid it for that reason. You're going to need this rule. As long as you master how to use it, it's going to simplify things for you if you use this first. Think about it this way. I say when you use that rule, you're going to have to pick a new name. You're going to be picking a name that you haven't used yet. You might as well get that name on the board right away, right? What if you introduce a name later on from some other rules, and then when you do this, you might have to repeat some steps. Don't worry if that explanation makes sense or not. If it's easier, just remember, when you're choosing what to do an elimination rule on, do or elimination and existential elimination before anything else. Negation elimination is also known as contradiction introduction. I think in general, try to do things other than getting a contradiction before you have a chance. Before you go straight to that rule. This is kind of iffy. I mean, if you see how to get a contradiction, then by all means, go for it. Plan C is unchanged. Use indirect proof. That's it. You're going to use the same sequence of steps. You just have, 6 new rules. That's all. You can do it. Talk to you later.